We are young farmers and ranchers fighting for the future of farming in the United States. Young farmers are our best hope for building the food system and the future our communities deserve. We can make meaningful change when we work together, and the work of this coalition has never been more urgent.
We need a future where there are no obstacles to feeding our communities. To survive as farmers and as a country, we need to challenge privilege. Not having access to land shouldn't prevent you from farming, because we should have access to land. Student loan debt shouldn't prevent you from farming, because having an education shouldn't be a liability. And being a person of color should never mean it's harder for you to make a life in agriculture, because this country owes its survival to your ancestors and your families, and it's your right to farm.
We started the National Young Farmers Coalition back in 2010. We realized there was no coordinated voice in Washington, D.C. for the next generation of farmers and ranchers. And we knew that the dominant voices in agriculture who were dictating farm policy were really protecting the status quo, and young farmers and farmers of color were being left out. If young farmers are able to share their stories and share their needs with their policymakers will be better informed and able to create farm policy that will benefit them and all of us.
When you're out here in these rural areas, it's hard to find community. It's hard to find other people who are experiencing the same challenges that you are. We have this network of people that we can rely on. There's this knowledge sharing that the coalition enables just by having this grassroots organization of so many young people and so many people who are in this stage of their farming career.
When we first started farming, we felt very socially isolated, which I think is a common problem with farming. So just finding other beginning farmers in the region was really nice. It helped us sort of build a community, feel more at home, feel like this could be a long-term career for us.
We just love this community, and we got to know so many of the other farmers in the area, of our peers through that work.
I hadn't had any experience farming or any experience with agriculture growing up, but I came out to New York for college, and there I started working at the Poughkeepsie Farm Project as a youth educator. And so after working with the education team there, I decided to sort of explore that more because it was bringing me a lot of joy. And at the same time, I was kind of reflecting on myself as a Black farmer and what that means in relationship to land, coming from a family that doesn't necessarily have a lot of a history of people owning land or owning, property and space. And all of those thoughts were coming together at the same time as I was finishing college and deciding to go work on the farm here at Phillies Bridge. And then that's where I got involved with Young Farmers Coalition. But I feel particularly driven kind of knowing that there are so few Black landowners, Black farm owners or managers in this field. It's always felt challenging in some ways to connect with spaces and people who are organizing around food and land who may not, look like me or may not be from the same environment or background as me.
It's never been harder to be a young farmer. There were already immense structural barriers to young farmers' success. Our young farmers are facing racial inequities, the COVID pandemic, and increased climate pressures on their businesses.
This year has been crazy. We lost a couple of employees because of COVID concerns. We dropped out of our city farmers market. A lot of our restaurant customers have closed down. This year we've had unusual droughts early, we've had unusual wet spells, we've had a winter that barely had any snow. Climate change definitely has a very real impact on our farm.
We realized that the challenges we were facing as young farmers could not be solved through hard work alone. They were structural challenges, and we needed policy solutions.
Since 2010, our organization has grown to a national network of over 200,000 supporters. We have achieved tangible wins for sustainable agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Our first major policy win as a coalition was a microloan program with USDA specifically designed for young farmers. Since then, thousands of farmers across the country have been able to start their businesses with that credit. We all benefit when young farmers succeed. They're doing the important work of feeding our communities, stewarding our land and water resources, and revitalizing our local economies.
We know that when we listen to young farmer stories, when we organize, when we work together, we are powerful. Our activated network of farmers, ranchers, food systems workers, and supporters can tackle the major challenges ahead. But we need to act now, and we need to act together.
We're young farmers, but we weren't born yesterday. We've seen the harm in our food system, and we've seen what works. We have the power to push for what works for us. By directing lawmakers to invest in young farmers, we make meaningful change. By fighting to preserve farmland, we reclaim our place in this country. We work on policy, we share knowledge, we organize, but the whole of our work is to put collective energy behind this vision where this generation and the next generation of farmers can grow in peace. Together, we're working to make this a reality.
We can build a bright and just future for agriculture, but we can't do this work without your support.